I gotta share something with y'all. Something that just happened, and I can't keep it to myself. And I want to call my brother and my sister, and I want to tell everybody what happened. So I figured, let me just make a video, and then I'll send it to everybody. Okay, so check this out. Check this out. This is gonna sound weird to some people. Some people totally understand. So I had my dogs out in the yard. I have them tied to the lead, to the, you buy those. It's like a wire rope tether. If you have a dog, you could tie it to the tree and then you tie it to the dog. But it's like a long, it's not a rope, it's like a steel wire with a different colored plastic around it. I think they call it a tie down. But anyway, so I have one, the blue one wrapped around. I had a red one, an Aussie. It wasn't as durable as they said because the wires started popping. So I bought a blue one. They said it's rated for 250 pounds. And then I bought a gray one, super heavy, and it's frayed in some areas, and it's like knots up a lot, but it's still holding. It's steel. It's holding. So I tied one to that tree and the other one to another tree. But I have to keep checking on them because I had to do the separate trees because Ozzy kept getting tangled. He likes to fight with Nala, play fight, and he gets tangled, and the wire rope gets wrapped around his leg, and that's bad because one night I ran out there and he was crying, and I said, oh shit, it was wrapped several times around his, I think it was his right leg, his ankle, and it was tight. Luckily he sat there and let me take it off, unwrap it, because it's like if she ran it would like snap his leg off. But anyway, so that's why I tied them to separate trees, but they still get kind of tangled up. So this is the point. I'm long-winded, you know that. So I was like, okay, let me take down my hair, let me wash my hair, let me do this, let me do that. And I just been chilling all day. I haven't been feeling too up to anything. I've been feeling a little bit weak, you know. I soaked in the tub. All this time they've been outside since about 8 this morning. Mostly quiet, unless the other dogs in the back come out, then I hear them barking at the other dogs. But I kept peeking out the back window, and I'm like, okay, they're good, they're good. And since they're on separate trees, it's less of them to get tangled, less possibility that they get tangled. Okay, I forgot I had an Amazon delivery. They usually park up at the in front of the house by the mailbox and walk. It's a slight incline down to the driveway and put it in either on the side door or the front porch, the front. Usually when the dogs are tied up, they don't like coming to the side because they're too close to the dogs, because it's about maybe 5 or 6 feet difference from the door to where they're tied up to where they can reach. So luckily I was out of the tub, out of the shower, everything, and I know what my dogs sound like when there's someone they're barking at. If you have dogs, you understand. Certain barks mean certain things, and you could tell by the way your dog is barking if they're hurt, if they're angry, if they're scared, if there's an intruder, if there's someone on the sidewalk. So the way I heard Nala barking, I said, okay, someone's must be in front of my house. Someone is someplace with. So Spirit just told me, stop everything and go check. Because usually it's like, okay, she's barking. Somebody must be walking down the street. But Spirit very clearly said, go check. And I did. I opened the side door. I noticed the Amazon guy parked not in front of my house, but slightly closer to the next house. But then he walked through my grass, apparently to put the stuff on my front porch. But that's not what I came here to tell y'all, which is what really blew my mind. So when I looked at my dogs, I noticed the blue tether, the blue rope that Ozzy was tied to was on the floor. Nala her gray rope. Now, the clasp that attaches the rope to the actual, her chain on her neck, her clasp was off. Check this out. Ozzy's clasp was tied to Nala's clasp. So basically, Nala was off her lead, off her chain. And the only thing keeping Nala from attacking, now Ozzy wouldn't have attacked anybody. My puppy, he's bigger than his mother, but he's very socialized, he's very friendly. He'll run up to you and he'll lick you. Nala's not like that. She has to be restrained. Unfortunately, when she was staying at my homeboy, right before she got pregnant, she lost her socialization skills. And I'm working on re-getting them, but not as much as I should be. So, basically, Nala was not tied to anything. She was hanging onto Ozzy's necklace. It's hard to explain. She was, her chain, somehow, that clasp from her chain was clasped to her son, Ozzy's chain. And since Ozzy's such a good boy, he always does this. Like, he'll jump on her back when she gets aggressive. Even like when I had company, if she gets aggressive with someone, he stops her. He jumps on her back, like to say, hey, calm down. I love that about him. He would make a great service dog. I looked down and I realized I got scared because I looked down and I said, Nala's not on anything. Like, if she wanted to take off and go attack the Amazon guy, she could have. Her rope was locked into Ozzy's necklace and he was preventing her from taking off. So I undid his and told him, get in the house. And when I undid his and he ran in through the back screen, Nala, she sat, because when I'm there, she listens. And she sat right by my legs and rubbed up, leaned on me. You know how they do. That's their protective. They lean on you. I looked down and I saw the guy from the Amazon walking into his truck. And in my mind, I said, Jesus Christ. He got some guardian angels. We both do, because it saved me from getting in trouble and I guess, I don't know if I would go to jail, but Nala could have very easily attacked the Amazon boy. And my ass would have been in fucking trouble. They wouldn't want to hear, well, she broke loose of her lead. Bottom line is, I'm responsible for these dogs. And if they somehow get loose, I'm responsible for the dogs. Period. So this is what's freaking me out a little bit. Not really, because I know spirit is real. Something clasp Nala's chain to Ozzy's chain. Because when I looked down at it and I saw both clasps, I'm going to go get it and show you. Both clasps were locked into each other. The only way, even if they're tangled up together, the odds of both of them linking together, you have to literally do this, open it and clasp it into the chain. How did it get off of her onto him? Something stopped her. Something literally did that to stop Nala from attacking the Amazon kid. This may not make sense to most people. Spirit is real. Non-physical entities are very real. And just like people, just like humans, you got good and you got bad. You got some looking out for you and some trying to hurt you. Well, let me tell you. And I said, once I realized what happened, I acknowledged and I said, thank you. I said, thank you. I see what y'all just did. I see what you just did. Thank you. Whew. Because Nala wasn't on her chain. She wasn't on her shit. And her clasp was off of her and got clasped on, unless a stranger came into my yard, which they wouldn't do because Nala would not have it. Unless a stranger walked into my yard, saw, and she didn't break her clasp. Because I looked, I said, well, did she pull it and bend it and break it? Did it finally break? No, it was still intact because I got a thick gauge steel. I'm going to show you in a minute. So it wasn't bent, broken. It's as if somebody opened it, detached it, and then attached it onto him. But it was off of her rope. It was off of her long lead. But something made sure she was still tethered and could not run. Huh. I'm just going to say that was spirit, because I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, and then you'll see how impossible it would be for it to just accidentally fall off of her and get re-clipped onto him. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This right here doesn't just come off unless you have a hand and fingers, right? This, let me show you Nala's. So this is Nala's. Hers is the gray lead. See? I have it around the tree. You see what I mean? This was attached to Ozzy's blue lead, not the gray. So somehow this was off. This whole clasp was off. So Nala was free. She was free to run. But this right here, this part that was off of Nala's neck, somehow was I have sand in my yard instead of grass. Isn't that funny? Like a beach. I don't know. Those two clasps, these were together. And only one dog was tethered. These two clasps were together. And then Nala was off her rope. She was off that. But this was on her neck. And therefore, her and Ozzy were tied together. But Nala was completely off her lead. Completely off her lead. And somehow, these two hooked up together. You have to open this in order to get it on here. This is the part that I'm saying. This has to be open to hook onto this. How did she get off of here and it opened on here, and then both of them were still tethered to Ozzy, which prevented her from running off and attacking somebody? That was some intervention. So I don't know if I told the story right, but basically it's one of them got off their lead. Nala got off her lead. And somehow her hook ended up hooked onto Ozzy, which prevented her. He prevented her because she wasn't hooked on his rope. She was hooked onto his necklace. And he's bigger than her. He's only 8 months, but he's bigger than his mother now. And he prevented her from running into after the Amazon guy. And I realized, because of the way the mechanisms are, that could not have happened by accident. And if it could, somebody please tell me how, because you saw how the clasp, how did it get off of her neck? Even if it fell off of hers, how did it get reattached to his? It's wild. But I'm happy it happened. Thank you. I said, thank you, Spirit. Got to recognize these things when they happen. And you got to Say thank you. We're so quick to notice when something bad happens and how it happened and why it happens. But we very rarely notice when we're being blessed and being given assistance. That was some divine intervention. Because like I said, Nala would have probably ran after him and bit him, especially if he was scared. Like I've seen her charge at someone and then he was like, hey! And she stopped. And I said, get your ass over here. And he says, I got Rottweilers. I'm not scared. And I was like, thank God. But if he didn't show aggression, she wouldn't have hesitated. So thank God for Spirit and thank God for Ozzy.